Well, hello everybody. I'm Tom Vasel. Welcome to live Q&A here at the Dice Tower. Now, excuse me, I got something caught in my throat there for a second. This is not where I normally do my Q&As, but we're currently using the other studio. We have it all Christmassy and set up for our 12 Days of Christmas recording. So, well, we have a lot of different recording to be done in there, so that's being done while I'm recording here. Which is also why I'm wearing a white shirt. This is the first time I've worn a white shirt this year since my daughter's wedding, I think. I just don't like wearing white very much. It's not a... I don't know, I just don't like white. It gets dirty very easily. And so brought in a variety of Christmas ties to wear. I hope you guys enjoy the 12 Days of Christmas. We went outside our contributors that we have here in the studio and brought in a lot of different people to give different opinions on the different games that we're talking about. So we hope you enjoy those. 10 of those videos coming this week starting Wednesday. If the thing is a little blurry, sound is a little lower than normal. That's because I'm using a mic here, but I can kind of lean into the mic and bring it down closer to me. So hopefully that will help. I have also increased the volume a little bit. It wasn't focused on me per se. Yeah, I'll see if I can get someone to focus this for me, because I don't actually know how to focus this camera very well. Who should we text? We'll text. All right, so... Alrighty, well anyhow, sound is better now? Well good. I'm glad that helps a little bit, and we'll work on the blurriness as time goes by here. But anywho, this is Q&A, and if you have any questions, I'll go ahead and try to answer some of them for you. We're just talking and having a good time here. This is the week before the retreat, so let's see. I'm not getting any questions. People are just talking about the sound and the blurriness. Great.
Something wrong?
They're just saying it's a little blurry on me. I don't remember how to fix that. What do I think of the new... Anyway, what do I think of the new Horrified? I have not played the new Horrified yet, actually. I've been meaning to play the new Horrified. I just haven't got to it. The artwork looks good. It all looks fun. Everyone who's played it said it's pretty much the same as the first Horrified, just with different monsters. So there's that. Let's see what else. Will I be at PAX? I can confidently say I will not be at PAX. It's not for any other reason than we just don't have the time. We got the Winter Spectaculars the week after. PAX being the second week of December is a really tough time. PAX talked to us about coming, but we can't. But Eric Summerer will be there from our Dice Tower podcast, so hopefully you enjoy that.
Okay, find out if people are saying it's better. I try not to move for a second. Yeah, you look.
All right.
Hold on.
Z has a better camera than the rest of us, but the only problem is it doesn't have autofocus on it, so we have to manually focus everything.
Sure it
so
does.
Hopefully that's better. Oh, does it have autofocus?
Probably, but it'll pick up the background first.
Got it. We need to pull it back out from me.
No, that's not zoomed in. This is only on here.
No, but it transfers to here too.
Oh, okay.
It came back off.
It does it automatically.
Yeah.
Zooming.
Alrighty. Alright, thank you, sir. Cheers for Z. Where are we? Let's see here. I'm puzzled. Did you say you don't drink alcohol but are getting a tattoo? I don't know how those two things are related. Do you have to drink to get a tattoo? We're going to get a tattoo here on the Dice Tower at some point. We're in contact with a tattoo artist to do it. It's going to be a small tattoo of the Dice Tower logo or my dice guy, one of the two. Let's see here. Is Unfathomable getting reviewed? Well, probably. We played it. What was your favorite game from We'll Play It Live? Probably Foundations of Rome. I really like that game. Although Mobile Markets was also quite good. I really like both of those. I know it's kind of a cop-out answer because both of those are Dice Tower Essentials, but man, I enjoyed those games. I've been rewatching the Time Stories plays, and they're also entertaining seeing you all discover things. Any thoughts of doing campaign-style game playthroughs again? I know they're a lot of work. They're not only a lot of work, but the reason we stopped doing them was a couple reasons. One, a lot of people don't want to watch them because they're spoilery. Two, they are some work. And three, it got a little old after a while hearing people tell us how dumb we were. About, I can't believe you didn't notice this. I can't believe you didn't catch this. And then, of course, if we make any mistake, people said, you were cheating. Now, that might calm down some now since we've had a lot better reaction to our live plays and stuff. But it still happens, even on the live plays. Someone will come in and go, you could have won here, if you had just done this. Well, sure. We just didn't have 1,000 people watching that point. I don't know. We might. Did you receive your chips you ordered online from Middle Swarth? I did, but I didn't really like them that much. I know that's terrible. I didn't get the kettle ones. I got the normal ones. I got some kettle barbecue chips. They just weren't as good as the ones that I had at the Dice Tower Retreat. They were okay. I still got like 4 bags of them here that I'm just haven't gone through because I don't like them as much. Any tips for flying with a few board games? And I don't have the top 10 book in this room, so I can't do that. Anyway, any tips for flying with a few board games? Yeah, just be careful. Pack stuff around them if you're worried about them. I prefer hardshell suitcases by a mile. They protect the stuff inside them better. I don't know why. It took me a while to switch to them. I've always used the soft shell, and after one went to the hard shell, I thought, wow, these are so much better. They protect what's inside them better. But when I fly with board games, I rubber band them to make sure that they will stay closed. Bag everything inside. No loose components in that box at all, because they might open it up. Would you review Wheel of Time as the show comes out? Well, I'm going to review the whole season. I don't normally do a specific episode. We'll see. I'm very much... That's soon, isn't it? Is that like in a couple weeks? I'm really excited about it, actually. I'm still clarifying my thoughts on Unsettled when we'll be doing a 4-square review of that one. I will say that I played it multiple times over the weekend because I wanted to delve more into it. What's the best game you played? Well, every year we do our top 100 games of all time. Looked it up and you can see. By the way, just so if you're new to one of these online chats for the first time, I don't answer questions about... I try not to answer questions like, when will you review this? Have you reviewed this? The answer is we try to review everything, and have I reviewed it, you can go and see that sort of thing. So if I have thoughts on the game, well, I'll talk about them when I review that game. Unless someone else has reviewed it, then it's fair game. Ask me, and I'll talk about it. The next 4X review is Ultry. That's coming this week. I'm not actually part of that one. I'll be part of the one the following week, which is going to be Unsettled. What's for lunch? I just had a few snacks, and I think I'm skipping the rest of lunch. Have I tried the Reese's peanut butter peanut cup stuffed with potato chips? No, that sounds gross and disgusting, and I don't want to. Thoughts on the Things Get Dicey video from last week? That was very nice and flattering. What game from the World Series of Board Games would I play to have the best chance? It'd be one of the lighter ones, I guess. I might play Azul, maybe? No, I'm not that good at Azul. I feel like I'm decently good at the second Azul, but not the first one. I don't know what I would play. Dune Imperium, maybe. Have you ever sold or traded a game that you regret it parting with later? Oh, many times back in the day. Yeah, it is what it is. You can hunt it down later. I don't get too upset about that sort of thing because you can always hunt the game down if you want to get it again. Let's see here. Did you have a fun Halloween? Well, yeah. So the thing I enjoyed the most, so there was 3 things that happened. There was normal Halloween last night, where we sent the kids out trick-or-treating, and me and my wife sat in front of the house and talked while a few kids came by. Not a ton came by our house. We're in a cul-de-sac, and a big cul-de-sac, but we're at the end of a homeowner association, so you have to go to all the houses to get to us. So not as many kids come that far, I guess. My daughter came back, though, with a whole pillowcase. She hit like 15 neighborhoods. But, and then we did something with the HOA had a really, really, really pathetic party the day before. But Friday, Cutler Bay, which is a city we live underneath, we're in Homestead. Cutler Bay is the next city up. And Cutler Bay had a big event, and it was fantastic. We went there as a church and handed out candy. There was 13 food trucks that showed up, and events and bounce houses. It was fantastic. Probably 5,000 people were there, I'm guessing. And so I brought my marble ramp, and I just raced marbles. I just said, pick a marble. And so the kids would come by. They all pick a marble. I race it, and whoever won the race got some candy. They all got candy, but whoever won the race got a little bit extra candy. And they were all cheering and adults. One lady asked me if I did parties. I don't. But then I thought, if the Dice Tower fails, another career possibility. But it was really fun to see everyone. No one's ever seen a marble racing track like that. My upgraded bits for Le Havre are mostly from Board Game Geek. Which contributors are in my play group? Well, the folks here at the Dice Tower studio. So we have Chris and his wife Wendy and Camilla and Kenny and Z and Mike and Roy and myself. And that they're part of the game group. Bonacore lives 90 minutes away, maybe even 2 hours away. It's a pretty long gig for him to come. I wouldn't necessarily call him part of our gaming group, but he comes when he can. Justin Jacobson, head of Restoration Games, will occasionally come down. He's about an hour away. So there's a few people, but the majority of our contributors are scattered across the globe. Who's my favorite movie monster? King Kong. Easy. What's my preferred brand of root beer? I don't really have any strong preference. I like most root beers. I like cream soda a lot better than root beer. Not asking if you have it in your top 100, but was wondering if Foundations of Rome qualifies yet. It does. Or does it have to be available to buyers before you would consider it for the top 100? As soon as I have a copy in my hands, I count it as possible. Background static. Sorry if that's there. My computer's running pretty hot, so keep that in mind. Let's see here. Oh, that's true. Some player aids from Board Game Geek I printed off for Le Havre. I really like them. They show the different values for the resources and are double-sided. They're pretty handy. Do you like jams, jellies, and preserves? Sort of. I just don't ever eat them. Like, I know a lot of people eat jam on toast. I just don't do that very often. I don't know why. I think they're fine. I got some key lime, raspberry habanero. I like that sort of thing. I just don't know what I would put it on. My favorite way to eat jelly is inside a donut, but that's probably not the best way to do it. What do you think's better for the hobby, quality or quantity? That's a trick question. Obviously, the answer is quality, but I mean, quantity doesn't hurt. Since it seems that Kickstarter has increased the number of games coming out, perhaps at the cost of them being good quality. No, I will always stand up against this. Yes, there are more games coming out than ever before. And so that means there are more bad games than ever before. But it also means there is more good games than ever before. Yes, for every pile of bad games out there, there's some good ones. The number of good games that come out each year is tremendous. Wheel time, November 19th. 3 weeks. All right, so ooh, interesting. So that's going to be a good time to watch TV because I got Wheel of Time, and then Hawkeye will be starting, and Mandalorian's not coming out too far after that, or the Boba Fett series. Yeah, a lot of good video. Was there a board game breakfast this morning? There was. If you can't see it, I don't know. We'll have to check. I remember you discussing teenage slang during the Brian Boru live play. What's your favorite teenage slang word? I don't know that I like teenage slang. I guess I'm turning into an old man. Should games explore more different pieces for gameplay? Sure, I guess. I don't know. I just want games to be good. I think we worry too much about these things. Just try to think of cool things to do with games. Do hospitals scare you? Well, it all depends on why I would be in the hospital. I'm not scared to go into a hospital. I've been in them many times. Think about how many children I've had. So I haven't been to the hospital in a decent amount of time, though. Do you keep backup clothing at the office in case breakfast gets messy? Yes, but it's not necessarily because of breakfast. I just like having backup clothes. Would you ever play Hearthstone with one of the subs just for fun, no competitive stuff? Maybe. I have some friends on Hearthstone, and I play with people, but you have to catch me, and I have to be willing to do it at that point in time, which is hard. I believe I'm just called Dice Tower in Hearthstone. I don't remember. I think Dice Tower is on. Right now, I'm kind of in the mood to play Hearthstone Mercenaries. So there's that. I'm really loving on that game. But you can try. You can add me as a friend. I don't mind. Best kind of feather for hats? I don't know. I just stick any old feather in. They're fake feathers, obviously. You can buy lots of feathers on Amazon. Whatever happened to that board game show you're talking about? The one that Travis put together out in California. Did it ever come out? It has not come out yet. I do not know the status of that one. I have not talked to Travis. Above board. I have not talked to him about that in a while. I enjoyed your review on Titans. Who on that staff do you think enjoyed that game the most? Maybe me, actually. Who enjoyed it the least? Probably Chris. I think. No, Chris says Tom liked the most, everyone else liked the least. I think Z thought it was fine. Did you see the South Trilogy of Garfield announcement? I didn't watch the whole video, but I did see the announcement, yes. Did you see the Book of Boba Fett trailer this morning? I did not. When this is over, I will watch that. That looks exciting. What ways are you planning to expand the Dice Tower in 2022? Well, I don't know exactly yet, but we'll talk about that when the Dice Tower Kickstarter comes live. The thing about expanding the Dice Tower is I always have these ideas at the beginning of the year, and then things change. I didn't expect to hire Camilla at this point, but she was so fantastic on videos, and she's been really helping us behind the scenes here at the Dice Tower. It's been amazing, but I wasn't expecting to do that at the beginning of the year. Some things worked out better than we thought. Some things don't work out as well. I think the spectaculars have been a pretty strong success. So, so I usually go into a year saying we're going to do this, but we also have to be careful on how much stuff we add. So 2022, in some sense, is going to be kind of a recovery year because we still haven't run a Dice Tower event since coronavirus has started other than the retreats. So Dice Tower West, Dice Tower Cruise, Dice Tower East have all been losing me tremendous amounts of money. And even with us running them next year, they'll make us a little bit of money at best, but they'll probably all still be in the hole, unfortunately. So I'm looking at 2022 as a kind of a year of recovery, hopefully. I wasn't expecting to move studios at the beginning of this year either, and we did. Saw your interview on crafting Arzium. How long ago was it shot? Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, I recorded stuff for it at Gen Con, so it might have just been this past Gen Con. Maybe is what you're talking about. I would have to look at the where it was taken. Marble racing party, $1 million idea. I doubt that. But you know what? I could see that being a thing, right? I could see having a marble racetrack and saying, I'll come to your house and run marble races for the kids. And do exactly what we do on Shoots and Marbles, but do it for a bunch of kids. Get them to get their marbles, run it, give them points and stuff. I think that could work. That could be an hour worth of entertainment. Not $1 million hour, I'm assuming. Should we still be using daylight savings time still, or should we drop it? Well, I think we should drop it or keep it, but pick one. I think switching back and forth every year is just a waste of time at this point. Relatively new to quality board games. After watching a ton of top 10 lists, my board game wish list is like 90 games. Without any knowledge of my wish list, where do you recommend starting? Just get a couple of them. You know, find ones that you know people will try and play with you, and then pick a couple. I'm not going to recommend anyone start anywhere. Just play some games. If you can find someone else who owns them, even better than that. Play theirs first. During the We'll Play It Live, I noticed Z explaining a number of games. When new games come in, how is the ratio of you teaching versus Z or Chris? It all depends who plays it first, really. We actually play together, me and Z play together more live than we play off camera. That's just the way that works, because we just play with different folks. So I would say for 99% of the games I play, I've taught the rules. For good or for ill. A couple weeks ago, you said you played a Kickstarter game that was 6 ways from Sunday wrong. Is that what I said? That review is going up next week or the week after. I can't remember. It's already recorded. Looking for a gift for children age 6 for Christmas. Huzzah for you. Thursday. Thursday, our 12 Games of Christmas for Kids goes live. So there's some really good options there for you. How long will you grow your beard as an elderly man? Probably the same like now. I try to grow out my beard every once in a while. I'm like, ooh, I'll get a big beard. And then it gets a little long and it bothers me, so I shave it down. What weird food combos would you recommend? I think corn is pretty good on pizza. I got used to doing that in Korea, so it doesn't bother me to have corn on pizza. What do I do that's odd? I do a lot of odd things, I guess, with food. I like mixing corn and baked beans. I've always thought that was a really good combo, too. I like corn and mashed potatoes. I just like corn. That's what I had from the food truck when we did that event the other night. I got corn, a cup of corn, which is very popular down here, where they grill corn on the corn on the cob. Then they slice it off, mix it up with a bunch of mozzarella cheese, and you put some seasoning on it. So I put some Crayola cheese on it. Oh, so good, so good, so good. Any predictions on what games will generate the most excitement at the retreat? I don't know, actually. I feel pretty strongly Batoku and Golem will probably be played a lot. The bigger Euro games, I don't know other than that, though. We'll have to wait and see. What board game bit is best to use in a piece of jewelry? Well, dice and meeples are the number 1 and number 2 things that are used. Meeples, because you can drill a hole through the meeple, and then it's easy. And dice, I've seen those all the time. In fact, I think they're the only pieces I've seen in games being used. Inspired by your track, I made my own marble racing course. It was a huge hit with the 9 to 11-year-olds at our fall party Saturday. When you need Shoots and Marbles West, I'm ready. Oh, I think I got Shoots and Marbles West covered, but we'll see. But good. Good. Actually, as those lists are just top 10 kids games of 2021, they're not. The 12 games of Christmas is not the best games of this year at all. Some of them are from this year, but in fact, of the kids list, I'd say maybe 4 came out this year. The other 8 are earlier than that. We're just picking games that are available. I don't want to ever send you to the top kids games of all time. I've done that, by the way. But some of those games are out of print, so we want to point you to games that are, at least we hope are in print. What's the best thing Ms. Vasel cooked recently? Lasagna. Should armor subtract from damage or divide the damage? Subtract, I guess. I understand what you're saying when it comes to divide, but subtracting is just much easier to do than dividing. Has anyone at the Dice Tower played the Tomesaga play of all 3 West Kingdom games? I don't know if anyone's done it. Maybe Mike has. I know that I loudly proclaimed I would not do such a thing. In fact, I said that today. Are you still having special guests for top 10s? It feels like it's been a while. We might, but we're going to do one with Trey Parker for sure. Other than that, I don't know how many more those will do with special guests because the special guest ones required us to do them through Zoom. We could fly people in to do them, which is what I would prefer to do. They're a lot more fun. And we might do that in the future, but we also are quite low on cash at the moment. So it's been a long, tough year. So we have to be careful in that regard. And I'm really happy with our in-house top 10s. We're having a good time doing those. And we got lots of people who can be part of those now. We're going to be doing a lot of top 10s for the Winter Spectacular. I just made that schedule up. How much did you have to do with getting Vabanque reprinted? Mostly me just yelling a lot. I didn't have a lot to do with much of it other than that. Has a board game company tried to pay Dice Tower for a good review? I don't think so, and no one's been blatant like, here's a bribe. I've had companies, a few companies, just a few, have asked me in the past, how much does a review cost? I don't think they're paying for a good review. They just assume there's a cost to a review. Anyone who ever asks that is someone who's not really part of our hobby. They're outside. They don't know stuff. They assume you have to pay for a review because there have been places that will charge. Some magazines will say if you want your game reviewed, it costs a fee. Again, I don't think that means anyone's paying for a good review, but that exists. I'm not ever going to be dumb enough to say that no one has ever paid and or received money for a good review, but I think if it's happened, it's been incredibly rare, and I wouldn't know about it. You mentioned this morning that there are 4 people you would play Risk 22 against. No, I said there are 4 people that I would have no problem beating on the first turn in Risk 22-10. And no, I'm not going to list those 4 people. Okay, one of them would be Roy, actually. I'll take Roy. I would do it to Roy. I have not seen the Netflix show Dark. Can you share more about Camilla's new role? Well, she's just doing stuff behind the scenes, tactical, administrative stuff and things like that. And so that's about the extent I'm saying about it. We're just getting stuff together. She's helping Kenny do a lot of the things that he does. How do you define your ranking system? What's a 10 versus a 9 versus an 8.5? 10 is amazing. It's like one of the best games I've ever played. 9.5 is almost as good as that, but it's not quite that good, but it's really good. And 9 is fantastic. I mean, it's not a 9.5, but it's really good. And 8.5 is excellent. I really like that game. I mean, it's not as good as a 9, but it's good. And 8 is a pretty good game. I mean, it's just shy of excellence, but man, almost there. 7.5. This is a fun, solid game. I really enjoyed playing this. I'll play this. I mean, I'll play it more than I'll play the 7s, but 7s are fun. 7s are a fantastic game. I like playing 7s a lot. 6.5 is almost what I'm looking for in a game. I mean, it's good. There's just a few small problems that keep it from becoming a game that I like a lot. 6 is fine. I mean, I'll play it. I don't hate the game, but it's fine. It's a 6, 5.5. Do I gotta play this? I'm not really sure if I want to play it right now. 5, it's not my kind of game. I'm not wanting to play this again. 4, this game is pretty terrible. Why are we playing this game? 3, this game is horrifyingly bad. 2, why was this game even made? It's not. And a 1 is an abomination to humankind. That's how I rank games. How does one sponsor a marble for the marble run? Just email me and you can send a marble in and we'll get in eventually. Why am I in Z set? Because my set's being used for Christmas recording currently. We appreciate that. We'll Play It Live was a lot more work than we had anticipated. We're like, we'll play games all week long. Wow, that's not going to be too overwhelming. It was a lot of work. But it was fun, but it was a lot of work. Crafting Arzian was just sent the video on demand to the backers this week. Started watching it, wasn't expecting to see you as the first interviewee. Oh, well, all right. I didn't know that had happened that quickly. Was I sitting in an empty room in a chair? Because if so, it was Gen Con. Let's see here. I played this game. It got stuck in one of my... I don't know if I ever actually did review Embarcadero. I don't think I did, actually. I found it to be okay. I felt like knocking over the stuff annoyed me too much about the game. You're constantly knocking over these piles of things. It's very physically fiddly moving these things around. Would you rather fight a giant boa or a giant crab? Giant crab. I could run from the crab pretty fast. I'd get offshore, he couldn't get me. Let's see here. I went back and rewatched Unfathomable. It was funny to see the separate points where Chris realized it was going on too long, then Z, then others shortly after. Yeah, there came that moment where I was like, I'm always cognizant of game length, though, for sure. Have you submitted your top 20 games for the BBG Top 200 People's Choice List? I have no idea what we're talking about. I'm sorry. What's the BBG? British Board Games? What is BBG? Any chance of gaming potpourri with V and Z makes a return? No chance. That's a terrible name. It was my idea. We already do it. Me and Z already talk about stuff. I mean, there's no show with just me and Z in it, but you'd like to see us cooking? I don't know. Maybe. I do like to cook, though. Maybe I'll have my daughter video me when I make the food for Thanksgiving dinner this year. You can see what that's like. Anyone at Dice Tower participate in No Shave November? I personally think these kind of events are ridiculous. I never understand it. See, me and my wife were just talking about this. So recently there was an event that we were, a local little event I was invited to be part of. And I didn't want to do it. And my wife was like, come on. And the person running was like, everyone else is doing it. And if there's one way to get me to not do something, it's when everyone else does it. That's just me. I just don't understand. Someone decides, hey, we'll be silly. At the Dice Tower, I just like to be silly's sake. Like, I want to come up with the ideas. Like, hey, we'll just be silly. Let's be silly. But when I'm told to be silly, it irritates me. Like party games where the silliness happens, like Time's Up or whatever, I can get into those. When the game's like, wear a pot in your head, it's a hat for the rest of the game. That's the game telling you to be silly, and I dislike that. So that's the whole thing about the No Shave November. Everyone's like, let's do it. Why? It'd be funny if I decided to not shave for a while just to see what would happen, but because everyone else is doing it in November, For some reason, that doesn't sit well with me. I remember back when the ice bucket challenge thing happened. Everyone did it. I was like, oh, I tag you now. You got to do it. I do? And so that's why you don't often see us take part of these crazes, whether it's the Harlem Shuffle or whatever it is, because I just feel like everyone's doing it, and it doesn't feel unique or interesting. Now, we might do it 4 years later, and I find that amusing. I don't know. I like to do things. I like to be the wild and crazy guy, maybe, but to come up with the ideas ourselves. I don't know if I'm expressing what I mean exactly. So that's why I just ignore this no shave. Like, oh, someone decided, let's all not shave. Well, let's do it. Or burrito month or whatever it is. I'm like, meh. We might do that at some point, but I don't know that I want to do it because everyone else is doing it. That's kind of a contrarian nature, I guess, but that's where I'm at. That being said, if the other guys are doing it, so be it. Mike will never do it. I found that many people don't like learning new games. Are we a minority? I think so. Most people don't like learning new games. Have you ever tried mac and cheese on a grilled burger? Yes, it's quite good. Did you notice any backlash from your crowd-surfing discussion of the game futility? No, was there any? I mean, you could always email me a link to stuff like that. I go look at it usually, but I didn't notice anything. What candy did you hand out to trick-or-treaters? That's a good question. I actually didn't put as much effort into it as I normally did, but I had some Pez. I thought Pez was cool. And like the sour licorice stuff, the kids like that. So when they came by, I was enjoying. I was just asking the kids how much candy they wanted. I'm like, how many pieces do you want? And it was just funny to see the reactions. Some kids would be like, 20. I was like, too bad, you get 2. But other kids would be like, 1? And sometimes they'd be like, is 3 okay? I'd be like, yes, it is. I don't know. Social experiment. There seems a lack of quality how-to-play video channels. Very few explain enough to avoid reading the rulebook for setup and gameplay. Do you think this is a niche that needs to be filled on YouTube? Well, I mean, pretty sure that's the whole Watch It Play channel is based on this. There are several channels, I could think 3 at least, that are about teaching games. It's a lot of work, and it's thankless work. More work goes into that. I mean, most of the channels that do it charge for it. I shouldn't say, I don't think all of them do. Most of them charge for it because it's a lot of work. What's the bidding game where you make up crazy high amounts? That's QE. Where is a Sushi Ghost Style Halloween themed trick or treat game? Who said one doesn't exist? Look up Emerson Matsuchi. Is there a viewership demographic that surprises you? A location or age group? I'm just always surprised when anyone outside our core demographic watches us and likes us, and I'm like, hooray, yay. Has the Chief finally stopped trick-or-treating? At his age, I fear for his health as he travels from universe to universe. The Chief is in better health than you and I put together by 10. He once got the Vajra, but I don't remember him getting too much sickness. I mean, there was the one time when he got the ghoulies. Well, the thing was, we all thought he did, and it turned out to be a really long con. The Zlaks were, at that point, they were trying this major infiltration / economic scheme where they were attempting to topple the Bulafakan Empire. The third Bulafakan Empire. You'll understand that there's multiples, but this is the only one that really matters. But there was 2 of them at the same time. Anyway, so because he pretended he had this, they took him to their hospital, and he knew the hospital was right next to the intelligence center. So he time shifted over instantly, was able to take them out and get back. And in fact, he really stuck with the role to the whole point. I thought he was sick the whole time. It wasn't until a couple years ago I learned that he had been faking it. I'm very impressed by it. Of course, you could argue and say he really had it, and he just says he was faking it, but he recorded a video that showed him time shifting over, which is hard to watch because those fifth dimensional video cameras don't ever really, they're just a pain to watch. But it's true. I verified it, and it was a good joke. We all laughed for a while, and once again, the Chief continues to impress us. If you don't know what we're talking about Chief Sokotoa. I'm so excited for your top 100. So that's in January. We'll talk about who it is in January. We got a lot of other stuff there. Brand says, I'll pay you to review Fleet Dice. Oh, but Brand, I cannot do it because we would not accept money to review a game. What's a good alternative for the Geek Box? The Dice Tower plastic containers, I think are better than the Geek Box, but the Geek Box is pretty good. I like the Geek Box too. Any idea of what you're going to make for Thanksgiving? Well, I'm going to make my own ham this year. I've kind of always ordered in a honey baked ham, so I'm gonna try to make my own. My wife and I are watching a recipe, and I'm pretty happy with that. Of course, I'm going to fry turkeys, stuffing. Not as much stuffing this year because the kids don't like it as much, and we always end up with leftover stuffing. Brussels sprouts, Cajun corn. I'm going to make my own mac and cheese again because I didn't do that last year, but I really like making my own mac and cheese. My wife makes the crap potatoes. That's what I call the sweet potatoes. I refuse to make it, just hands out. I will not make it. I think they're an abomination, but she likes it, so she makes that. She'll probably also make the green bean casserole. I don't dislike that. I just think it's an overused dish, so I don't make it. I don't know what else we'll do. I might steam some cauliflower and add some cheese. I haven't yet figured out all the dishes. Oh, of course, I'll be making my own cranberry sauce. We might pickle some eggs. I have to actually get together on this. I've ordered some of the food already, but we need to get the rest of it together. I need to have that done soon. No, I'll spend some time this week on it. You mentioned your extended family in various videos, and the Vasels seem to be all over the country. Did anyone stay in or around the area you guys grew up in? Only my brother, and even he doesn't live in Allentown. He moved to Valley Forge. So, yeah, he's in Valley Forge. My sister lives in Canada. God help her. I'm kidding, Canadians. My other sister lives in Oregon. My dad lives in Nebraska. And my other brother lives in Indiana. And then we live down here in the tip of Florida. As you can see, getting the family together for anything is a tough gig. Are most of the people going to Dice Tower West from the U.S.? I think so. What percentage of people come from outside the U.S.? I don't know, especially with COVID happening. I think it's going to be less. I mean, some people have come from overseas, but I think the vast majority are people who live in the Americas. Let's see here. I guess I'm quite behind on the questions, and I apologize about that. Favorite Christmas present you've received? I don't know. I received a lot of really good ones. When do I start decorating? I don't know about that yet. So the house we usually decorate the day after Thanksgiving. The studio, I almost decorated it last week because we decorated that one corner. Me and my daughter set up the corner for the Dice Tower 12 Games of Christmas. And I bought a lot of other decorations for the studio, but I controlled myself and didn't put them up. So they'll go up eventually. Would I consider offering a baseball hat with the Dice Tower logo in my next Kickstarter? Probably not, because clothing just does not make... I know this is going to sound weird, but we need to make money on our Kickstarter. Our Kickstarter is a donation to the Dice Tower, and then you get a small reward in exchange for it. So we need that small reward to not cost a lot of money. The margin on hats and shirts just isn't very much. That being said, I do have scheduled this week, I will be scheduling some talk with some merchandising stuff, so we'll see what we can pull off that you can get. It just won't be part of the Kickstarter. At the end of the year, would you publish your 11 to 20 best games of the year, similar to the 5 More Great Games series? Well, I do always. I always call it 10 More Great Games. It's always part of the... I always do my 11 through 20. Well, it's not usually my 11 through 20. It's usually like 11 through 25, because some of my top 11 through 20 are also in our 10 best surprises of the year. Let's see here. Can you explain what additional work is required to do live streams over editing and publishing a pre-recorded video? So if you want to do a live stream well, you have to have someone monitoring the live stream. So like this live stream, obviously Chris is there in the chat, but we don't necessarily need someone watching it, just me doing the cameras. But we're switching cameras. So the thing about a live stream is there's a lot of pre-work for a live stream. You're watching the video. We have to set up the camera, set up everything, make sure you have assets, the box cover, any other things programmed in the computer ready to play. But what the biggest thing about live streaming is, you have to be on the entire time. I'm sure you've all watched at some point in your life a live stream of somebody who just played like they were playing a normal game. It's not very interesting. You have to play out loud. You have to say, I think I'm going to do this. Even if in your head you might think that in the game, it's super boring to watch. And so you have to be on. And you're like this. Woo! When I do a video, I'm on the whole video. So if I'm on all day, that's more exhausting. When you record a video, you can be on for a brief time, pause it, do this. All right, we'll do it again. So like, for example, I just recorded. I did 6 times 12... I don't know, I recorded like 20, I just recorded 21-minute videos for the 12 Games of Christmas. So I recorded these videos, pre-recorded the parts I'm doing. I still have, I don't know, at least 8 to 15 more to do. But I record a couple, and then I go, okay, get ready. But when you're live, you cannot do that. You have to be on the entire time. And it's really draining. You don't realize how draining it is till you're done. You can get in the moment, you're having a great time, and then you're done, you're just like, all right, okay, now I can relax a bit. Hey, someone from Croatia, that's cool, thanks. Is there a short list of things of which you are feeling particularly accomplished? You're asking me to brag here? If there's anything I'm happy with what I've done in board gaming is I think I've helped a lot of people get into it. Whether they're off doing their own channels now, which is fine. Whether they're if they're on my channel, but they're a voice that they wouldn't have been otherwise. I'm pretty happy about that. If I've inspired people to do it, and because they basically say, if that moron can do it, anyone can do it. Well, then I've succeeded. So I guess that's an accomplishment that I would be proud of. I'm happy with where the Dice Tower is at. I'm pretty happy with the fact that, unless we take a break here at the Dice Tower, nobody will ever catch us, me in particular, I guess, of a number of games reviewed. Now, again, you could argue that my reviews are pretty terrible, which quite a few people do on almost a daily basis. But I've done a lot. So I guess I'm happy with that. I have a big library. If you're like, I ever wonder what Tom thinks about such and such a game, I probably have done it. And I've worked really hard at taking the board gaming channel type thing and humanizing it. I want people to know that I'm Tom Vasel the human. So earlier I was talking about being live and being on. And we're on for sure. To the point where this actually affects us at conventions because people come up and they go, you look tired. No, I don't look tired because if I'm sitting here just looking at the screen, I'm not bored. I'm reading the screen. But I looked bored to you because you're looking at someone who's constantly going, woo! So I'm on all the time But when you're not, you kind of look, people come up and then you're just like, you're normal. You're not like, when someone comes up, you're not like, hey, welcome. I mean, I can get in that mode. In fact, I almost wore myself out on Friday because we were on video Friday morning. Then I went to this marble thing and I was like, marbles for 2.5 hours. I was so tired. I went home and went right to bed. But I do hope that when you meet us at a convention, you don't go, oh, well, he's playing Tom Vasel on screen. I hope that when you meet me in person, you say it's the same guy. That's why criticism of me that bothers me more than any other criticism is when I see someone say, I met Tom at a convention and he was a snob to me or a jerk or whatever they might say. And I'm like, oh, no, I didn't mean to. But there's no way to get around that. There's no way to fix that. I've emailed people before and tried to, but just I can't. But I hope that the vast majority of people, when I meet them, they're like, hey, that's the same guy that I see on the videos. That's my goal. And I would like to see more of that in the industry. I'm not saying other people aren't doing it, but I hope that we see more of that happening. I really want the audience to be part of this. Don't get me wrong. I as much as the next person, when I go to a convention, I like to hobnob with the publishers and designers and the different people. That's a part of the thing, and it helps me stay in touch with the industry. But I also like hanging out with people I don't know at all. So if I go to a con, that's why I always say, come say hi to me. And if I'm in the middle of the open gaming thing and there's people playing games, I'll grab a game with anybody. Not my best friends. I get to play with my best friends. These guys at studios are some of my best friends. All right, I don't mean to get sappy, but they're some of my best friends. And I like hanging out with them. But I get to hang out with them all the time. So when I go to a con, I want to be your friend. And I want to push more of that in the industry. And I really have tried to. I think a lot of times, a lot of different content creators, you go to a con and a lot of content creators, they all play with each other. And I get it on one hand because they're all good friends and they don't get to see each other very often. But I want to play with anybody who walks by. Now, I played games with anybody before, and sometimes you play a game with someone and go, yeah, our play styles don't jive. But other times, you can do that. So that's what I'm trying to bring to the industry. I'm not a great game designer. We all know that. I'm not the best reviewer that's out there. I don't claim to be. I try to be as good as I can be for Tom Vasel. I try to, do that. I hope that the Dice Tower has brought more good to the industry than it's taken away. Right? I hope so. And again, you can't always read in the internet, but there's a lot of people who really dislike the Dice Tower for whatever the reason is, and there's nothing I can do about that. But hopefully there's a lot of people who do enjoy it. So, you said shortlist, and I kind of went off on a tangent there. Sorry about that. It gets hard to tell when I'm trolling. I promise you I was not just trolling at everything I just said. Throughout the year, do you have select charities you donate to outside your son's auction? Do you budget for charitable events, either personal or via Dice Tower? No, I don't budget for them. I don't like budgeting for charity. I want charity to be a spontaneous act of giving. So I give a lot to my church because I believe that, and I give to missionaries and stuff on the Christian side of things. I give to the Jack Vasel Memorial Fund. And I also give to whatever might strike my fancy. I don't have anything specific that I do. Have I read any new comics recently? I really have not. I've been just reading straight books recently, mostly short stories. I realized that the Ice Bucket Challenge was originally to support ALS, but I found the whole thing kind of fascinating because it was like, do either donate or dump an ice bucket on top of yourself. And I thought, that's weird. So many people are doing an ice bucket. Shouldn't we donate? Now, ALS said that they got a lot of money from it, so that's great. I'm just saying on a personal level, I didn't do it because I felt like we were being guilted into doing that. I've always found a little bit of that. Yeah, there's that Seinfeld episode where Kramer won't wear the ribbon, and they all yell and scream at him to wear the ribbon. And there is some of that some days, right? Like, you need to wear the ribbon. Well, I'm already helping out in these other ways. No, wear the ribbon. I've always found that that's something that happens a lot now. I think that episode from Seinfeld has aged pretty well. What do you miss most about teaching school? I miss the light in a kid's eyes when they understand a concept. I just like teaching math concepts. I've always enjoyed that. Let's see what else here. Will we ever see the return of your mustache? Maybe. My wife says she doesn't like it, so it may stay off. I do tend to take what she says over everyone else. So I don't know. It shows up like on Saturdays. I'm like, I need to shave it off. As a father of so many, how far in advance do you like to finish the Christmas shopping? I don't know. I told the kids actually yesterday. I'm like, give me the Christmas lists now, because it's going to be a busy season. We've done a top 10 horror board games list before. We'll do one in the future. I just don't want to do one every year. I've not tried this Melodicing, the music playlist website where you search a game and it pulls up a corresponding... What? Maybe I have. If I have, it's been a really long time ago. What is your first board gaming experience? Check out the history of the Dice Tower. I talk about it there. Do you still think there will be ever a show like Tabletop show again? Sure, I think these things will happen. I was just watching a little documentary on Critical Role and how big Critical Role's becoming, and maybe something like that will happen with board games. It seems like it caused a lot of growth in the community and is also missing right now, but the community itself is much bigger than it used to be. And it's also pretty fractured in the sense that there's lots of great content that you can watch online now. How do you handle rude people, and how soon do you get over the rudeness? It all depends, I guess. I'll tell you what, though. I always try to imagine a scenario. So a lot of people here in South Florida, when I say a lot of people, it seems like the vast majority do not use turn signals. You get cut off, whatever. So someone will cut me off, and they'll drive, and I'll be like, and then I'll think, well, maybe they're on the way to the hospital, you know. Maybe they just got news that their uncle has cancer. I try to imagine some terrible scenario about that person. What I mean is, or some scenario that person had a reason to cut me off. And then it's hard to get annoyed at them. You're like, well, good. Yeah, cut me off. You need to get to the hospital. You do something like that and it helps you get less irritated at people's rudeness. Someone's rude to you and you're like, oh man, maybe today was the day they found out that they failed that test. You think that way, and because you know what? That's when you're rude, right? You're often rude when something bad happens, and you're like, oh, and someone says something, you're like, oh, I don't want to hear it. You were rude. You're like, what's your excuse for being rude? You go, well, I was having a bad day. Well, maybe they were too. Have your kids convinced you to watch Demon Slayer? They have not. How are contributors chosen? I choose them all. People email me. I have them send me like an audition video, and we go from there. My least favorite part of this holiday season is having to hear Tom trash on sweet potatoes. Sorry. We all have a food we don't like. Mine happens to be sweet potatoes. It's become a joke in the house, though. I'll go to the store and I'll buy everything. My wife's like, where's the stuff for sweet potatoes? I'm like, I ain't buying that. You buy it. If it was a big deal, I buy many things for my family that I do not like eating. But the sweet potato thing has become an in-joke. And it's actually split down the lines. Half the kids like sweet potatoes, the other half hate them. So it's an amusing civil war in the Dice Tower house. I don't have a top 5 Chief stories because it would take too long to do. There's so many great stories. I will dribble them out occasionally through the Q&As. Planning to go to Florida this January and going to Disney World. How safe do you think it is? I think Disney World seems pretty safe. I never heard of anyone ever getting attacked there. And is it going to be cold? It will likely not be that cold. At most, it will be cool, which is great. Oh, Disney World's fantastic. If you're from Canada, you won't think Florida's cold at all. You'll probably go swimming in January. It was like 68 degrees. That's Fahrenheit. Was it yesterday? And we all were like, wow, so amazing. Did the Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion Kickstarter maps get mailed out? No, I don't have them from Isaac yet, but I hope to have a Kickstarter update tomorrow or the next day. I'm going to write, this is what's happening, this is where everything is. We'll have that out for you guys as soon as we can because we're trying to get all that stuff together. The logistics this year have been tremendously difficult for everybody, and so that's kind of a tough thing, but I am working on that as best as we possibly can. Alrighty. Well, unfortunately, that's it for today, folks. A lot of people have been asking questions. I didn't get to all of them. Mom Gamer, thank you for your super chat. I really appreciate that. I'll put it here in the thing. It's very nice of you to do, and I appreciate that. So, thanks everybody for all the nice words and everything. I'll try to answer more questions. We'll be back live tomorrow. So this is what's happening tomorrow. We got 5 more great games. It's the final 5 more great games. I'm going to be starting some other series up. And Eric Summer guest starring on that one tomorrow at 2 o'clock. And then Shoot Some Marbles tomorrow at 3. Wednesday, our live event. Of course, we have crowd surfing going on. So come by and join us for that. Thursday, we got Board Game Breakfast back on its normal track. And I think that's all the live stuff this week. There could always be something off the cuff. But we're working hard on the 12 games of Christmas. And that will be starting Wednesday. So I hope you all enjoy that. I hope you all are having a fantastic week. If you're coming to Dice Tower Retreat, I will see you very, very soon. It's very exciting. Anyway, until next time, though, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching Q&A on the Dice Tower.